Update number 19 on the Lackawanna cutoff. What's in store in 2024 and beyond? Hi, I'm Chuck Walsh, and we're here at Slateford Road, the crossing over the cutoff. The cutoff, or where the cutoff was, is directly beneath us right here. This bridge was removed in 1995. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but in the update, I want to talk about, first of all, New Jersey Transit, and then also Amtrak. And by the way, I want to thank Razul Attar for the photos we showed at the very beginning, and we're going to give you a short montage at the very end of the video as well of photos of construction inside Roseville Tunnel. Now, to review for the New Jersey Transit project, that's a 7.5 mile project between Port Morris and Andover. It's been subject to a number of delays over the years. Fortunately, it's back on track. The Roseville Tunnel project is nearing its completion. It started in 2022 around Labor Day. It's a 2-year project, so it should wrap up. The interior work in the tunnel should wrap up sometime in September of this year, 2024. And then there's also work that is west of the tunnel. That's probably going to go into October. And there's a communications tower. And basically that part of the project associated with Roseville Tunnel should be complete sometime in November. That's what we're being told. And then there's the projection that New Jersey Transit Service, they haven't really talked to this recently, but we're talking maybe 2027-ish, end of 26, 27, but since they haven't talked about that recently, we're going to just leave that where that is. But that's the most, I'll say the most recent projection in terms of starting New Jersey Transit Service. Now, west of there is the missing so-called 21 miles, which comes all the way up to here. Slateford Junction is off to what would be your left, my right. Now, let's just quickly review about that over the past year or so. In March of 2023, close to 100 different corridors, including this one, the New York to Scranton corridor, submitted applications for basically for participation in the program, which at the very end, if you get the funding, you build your project. The applications were received in March of 2023. They were supposed to have been reviewed and the announcement made as to what projects moved on, I'm going to talk about the steps in a moment, would have moved on in May of 2023. It took until December of 2023 for that to occur. So it was a long 6-month delay on top of everything. Now, talking about in the past, I've talked about 5 steps. There are really only 3 steps. And this has to do with the Federal Railroad Administration, the FRA, which has gotten a whole bunch of money, $16+ billion for new corridors. In other words, new passenger service with Amtrak. There's a team that was put together that is in charge of the Scranton corridor, I'll call it, New York Scranton corridor. That includes the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, PennDOT, the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Railroad Authority, Amtrak, the FRA, and then New Jersey DOT, the Department of Transportation, New Jersey, and New Jersey Transit. So that's the team that's been working on this for the Amtrak project. Now, I've talked about the different steps in the process before. We'll just quickly review. I call it step 0, the application phase, but that isn't really an official phase, an official step. But we're past that now. So we've the application phase, and that's basically now we have 69 corridors which have been approved out of the 90 some odd original applicants. So 69 now are vying for that money, and they are in step 1. There are 2 that have moved on to step 2. They had additional work that had been done in the past to qualify them for step 2. Not going to go into all the details, but step 1 is kind of a preliminary step. After you finish that, you go to step 2. Now, step 2 is when you put together what they call a service development plan. Basically, how you're going to build your project and all the details that are involved with that. Step 3 is where you actually do the engineering and then build the project. And I call step 4, which is where you actually run trains. But the official is 1, 2, 3 for the FRA. The FRA has already stated that only those projects which go into step 3 will go to actually be built. So that's an important place to go past from step 2 to step 3. So where are we right now? Other than the fly that's bothering me, in the team I just mentioned, and PennDOT is the actual lead applicant for that project, Scranton to New York City. PennDOT is actually already looking into and is laying the groundwork for step 2 and step 3 activities. So they're looking ahead. Now, we say, well, why would you be doing it now? You're not even in step 2 or step 3. Well, if you need contractors lined up, if you need engineering firms lined up and all that, you have to be thinking ahead, because it isn't necessarily something you're going to snap your finger and they're going to be ready when FRA says, oh, now you're in step 2 or step 3, whatever the case may be. So PennDOT's really thinking ahead. So that's already in the works. Now, what else is in the works? Well, this bridge, the state of Pennsylvania has managed to secure about roughly $5 million worth of funding to replace this bridge that was torn out in 1995. Now, what's here is a fill-in, but there actually are tracks literally buried underneath this fill. But Pennsylvania's gotten the money, so they had the money to do this project, in other words, to put a bridge back here. And they're also, down the road, there's a culvert that's right over here for Slateford Creek. That'll have to be fixed as well, but that'll be later. But this is the only obstruction for the whole 136 miles between Scranton and New York City. So this is an important project to be done for work that at some point where Amtrak is going to want to come through here. Well, you don't want to have this here, you want a bridge. So that's the next thing. Now, in terms of bridges, there are actually 2 other bridges or viaducts that are east of here, the Delaware River Viaduct and the Paulins Kill Viaduct. Those are really the big ticket items for the cutoff for the 21 miles. The rest of it's basically just right-of-way replacement and track and clearing and all that kind of stuff. But we'll call it the 3 bridges, or the 2 viaducts and the 1 bridge, are really the main items. And this one, of course, is a main item because it's an obstruction. So this has to be removed and replaced. So that's in the works. So that's real money that's coming along, or has come along actually. It's actually, in progress. So that's a very positive sign, and people are wondering, well, why don't we see a whole lot going on? Well, the reason is that a lot of these activities take place behind the scenes, and they're not going to be visible to you. They're not going to be tangible like the work on Roosevelt Tunnel is tangible. But even that is taking longer than a lot of people are happy about. But hey, they were given 2 years to do the project, 2 years and 1 month actually. The Schiavone LLC company, and they, as far as we have been told, they're right on schedule. So that's good news. New Jersey Transit, and then Amtrak. Now, one thing about the Amtrak project, and we've talked about this before, is that this project, as far as we've been told repeatedly, is a top priority project. Now, I can't give you a number. Is it in the top 5? Is it in the top 6 or something? I can't give you that. And that's a fluid type of thing down at the FRA in terms of how they're working on one project versus another. But basically it has really two major pluses working in its favor. One is, well, certainly there's political support for it, not only just locally, but down in Washington, D.C. as well. Very important, key actually. The second thing is, all of this right-of-way, the 136 miles, is all publicly owned. The first 7 miles out of New York City is Amtrak's Northeast Corridor line. From there, it's New Jersey Transit. It will be all the way to Andover. And then from Andover west, well, the DOT owns the whole cutoff, but you're going to have Amtrak involved, but you're not going to have any freight railroads involved that are the ones who own the right-of-way. When you get into Pennsylvania, it's the Rail Authority, the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Rail Authority, that owns it. Yes, there is freight service over here, but that's by contract. It's still, the right-of-way is owned by the Rail Authority, all the way to Scranton. So, and the FRAs and that recognize that. They pointed out this is the only, of all those 69 that are in contention, this is the only one which is all publicly owned. So, a big plus. So what's going to happen the rest of this year and beyond? Well, that's just to give you a little bit of a glimpse. We do have an election coming up in November. That is going to play into this. We'll probably talk about that more in future updates, but that certainly will be a very important event. So, that's where we stand, sort of a Cliff Notes version, but to give you an idea of where we are and, well, where we've been and where we're going. So, thank you for watching update number 19. Remember, there's a montage coming up. Hope you look forward to update number 20 on the Lackawanna Cutoff.